Cross the chains and have them come undone cleanly. This is the explanation for hyperloops from same direction, and what I say here is true for both left and right sides in both forwards and backwards weave. So use this to learn them all. Start with the basic 3-beat weave. I'm going to show video here for the forward weave crossing from left to right. There are two ways to think about how this crossing starts. The first is, in the normal weave, the left-hand poi comes over the top and across. For the hyperloop, instead of crossing your body, it stays on the left side long enough to hit the right poised chain, and that's how the hyperloop is initiated. The second way is to think back to through wraps on the wrist. A hyperloop is the same move, except instead of hitting the chain with your wrist, hit it with the other chain. Now, with either way of thinking about it, once the chains touch, the hands stop moving almost entirely, except for the motion straight across to the other side of the body. The change of side happens immediately once the chains touch. If the hands come together, the move falls apart. You need to maintain tension between your hands so the poi keep momentum. When you get to the other side, the chains come apart on their own. Important tips. The chains cross with equal length, so they spin at the same speed. Keep the poi as close to in plane as possible before they cross, so they'll go faster and straighter. Cut down on how far from side to side the move has to travel by keeping it more in front of you. It should stay at about shoulder width. For some people, it's easier to learn crossing closer to the handles because everything moves slower. From there, work your way to crossing at the middle of the chains. Nobody gets it right away. Practice lots. Once you get the feel for hyperloops and understand them, you can do them almost anywhere. This move is easier than it seems at first. If you set everything up right, it tangles and untangles on its own. One poi is flat on the wall plane in front of you, while the other spins in the same direction, but its plane is offset from the other plane by about 30 degrees. The timing is such that the wicks meet in the middle. It's important that your hands are at the same height. Let the chains hit with equal lengths, about 6 to 9 inches from the wick end, and presto, it's done before you know it. Keep tension between your hands while the chains are crossed. This is the same move. Simply make the angle the same as before and get your hands at equal heights. A variation on the hyperloop with more time spent tangled. Instead of coming straight across, once you connect the chains, let the poi head that would have come across first come between your arms. They'll spin there until you finish the move by continuing them on in the same direction to outside of your arms. The catch? You have to have an even number of beats between your arms or you'll end up with a knot you didn't plan on. This move works from forwards and reverse hyperloops. You can also tangle the chains from opposite directions. Here's how. Practice your inside butterfly turns, like this, doing first 2 beats in each position, then 1 beat all the way across. Turning through the reverse butterfly side is easier for the tangle than through the forwards butterfly. The tangle is the same motion as the turn, but you cross the chains before you leave one side. Do that by taking the chain that's on the side you're turning to, here my right hand, bringing it across the plane of the other poi as both are headed downwards, then bringing it back to its own plane once it passes the bottom. Now the chains are crossed, and you go through reverse butterfly to the other side, where they come undone. Through forwards butterfly is harder, but the technique and practice are the same.